Hello, I wanted to create this video to show something that I've made as a therapy resource for doing cognitive therapy with people with traumatic brain injury. I've spent a lot of time with this, a lot of research, personal research, and I've had really good success using this with patients and getting good feedback. I want to go over it with you and see what people think, as well as kind of see where I go in terms of doing cognitive therapy and what I think really works. This is called the SEMANTIC STROOP program. It incorporates semantic feature analysis as well as the Stroop effect, and we'll go over kind of more about that here. And here's just like a general program purpose. I say that it's designed to strengthen cognitive control, semantic processing, all levels of attention, language word retrieval simultaneously. And they span multiple semantic domains, which we already know of, like color, shape, construction, size, weight, texture, detail, function. But at the same time, we're also looking at other things like lexical semantic things. And we'll go over that a little bit more later. But primarily what happens is with the Stroop effect, which is, what it is it's a classic cognitive phenomenon where automatic processing, reading a word, interferes with controlled task, naming the ink color. So here, what happens is the patients override the automatic impulse to label what they see and instead apply a different controlled rule and progressively harder steps. That's what I'm going to do. So there's always a set with four-page hierarchy that always follows each set. And on the first page, what I have patients do is they will just always be looking at pictures, and they will be first naming, rapid autonomic naming, and the first page looking at all objects and just naming as accurately and quickly as possible. Second, there's going to be an association naming. They will have to inhibit what they initially learned about what object they're seeing and just say the association we're focusing on at that point. This will make more sense when I show you an example. Third, they will look at those lines, and this is the third page. They will alternate the lines with the object and then the association label, object and association label. So all this will be read and stated aloud. And then fourth, they will have to alternate lines again, but then they will have to make sure their attention's divided, and on a certain picture or association, raise their hand when they say it. So they will be naming things, and then they have to say something, put their hand down, and keep going. All of that has to be remembered, though, with working memory. Great attention activity. So here's an example. On the left of every set that I show, there's always going to be objects or some picture that is represented with the object, or what, vice versa. And here's the card, an egg, a balloon, and a Christmas tree. Very straightforward. Now the second part is the association. I usually do not tell the patients what this is. They just have to infer it, but it starts easy. So here we see rectangle, oval, circle, triangle. Obviously those are shapes. So at first I review with them, okay, what do you see here? What are the associations? We identify that first. And then always, after I move forward during that first primer, I always go down and I block off the key. It no longer will be viewed to them. So I'll zoom in and I will show something maybe like this. So then the first page, like I said, is just rapid automatic naming. And what they'll do is just say card, balloon, egg, tree, balloon, card, balloon, egg, tree, egg, card, egg. And they'll go through the whole page, making no errors and just saying it as accurately and quickly as possible. Easy. The next page, now we're just going to be looking at the association. The association is a shape. So whenever they see these pictures, they're not going to say what it is. They're going to say just the shape. So we go down here, and we're just going to say the shape now. So we're blocking and inhibiting our response, hence the Stroop task activity. Rectangle, circle, oval, triangle, circle, rectangle. People will start pausing. You'll notice they start kind of having to get that inhibition response. Okay, so that's harder. Now we go to the next one. We do alternating lines with the object and then the association. So I'd start card, balloon, egg, tree, switch attention, circle, oval, triangle, oval, switch attention back to the object, and then finish with the association. So then after that, we finish with the hardest one, and it's going to be, again, the same set with the association of the shapes. But they're going to continue alternating lines, and then when I give them an item, say egg, or oval, they're going to have to raise their hand as they're saying that. So card, balloon, egg, tree, balloon, card, switch attention, circle, oval, triangle, oval, rectangle, oval, switch attention, tree, and go through the whole thing. That is what a set is in this program, and I have several of them, and that's what it's looking at with semantic feature analysis. Is each set is focusing on a semantic feature initially. It's focusing on color, shape, construction, size, weight, texture, detail, function. But then I expand it as we go forward, and I get creative with associations. They become more abstract. They become temporal, relational. They become gradients. They become things that are they're more difficult. Let's just put it that way than semantic features alone. So let me show you some examples. But before I do, basically what the pages are is page 1 object naming, page 2 association naming, page 3 alternating naming, and page 4 motor response with alternating lines. And what this can show you is a ton. And I have here, each page in this program has descriptions of how to measure it, what its clinical application is, and also a documented page for like taking errors down in timing. That's how you will be measuring improvement here. So it also says performance analysis, so page 1 breakdowns, lexical retrieval, processing speed, page 2 semantic inhibition, page 3 cognitive flexibility, page 4 divided attention and rule maintenance. So then they have the errors that we can look at in this activity: order sequencing errors, global rule or task set errors, memory errors, inhibition or semantic errors. And then it's just a general overview of like what are the trade-offs between accuracy and time, and goes over that here. And then at the end of all of these sets, depends how well your patient is attuned to this, how gifted they are, or like how already the level of impairment they have with semantic feature analysis and whatnot, or their word finding difficulties. You then complete X amount of sets each session, also depending on their attention. And at the very end, you review a delayed recall. You're reviewing every single item and every single association in that activity you did. Theoretically, it should be improved with word recall because you're reviewing the semantic features the whole time. So it's supposed to help you recall, which is a great way to finish the task. It's reinforcing that memory. Now I'll show you, here's clinical application. Here's a super easy example to start. So you look here at the key, and we just got objects, which are fruits and vegetables. Association, take your time and look. Well, it's going to be color. So then you go through this, and you do page 1, what it is, the fruit or vegetable. Page 2, you do just the color. Page 3, you alternate between the object and the color, and then you raise your hand on one of the items. So this is very easy at first. So I've got some of those examples, then I've got shapes. And then we start getting really kind of funny. We go into weight. So I use a prototypical example, or as best I could with English culture in California and language. I don't know. I just tried my best to think of general representations of what this measurement would be. So salt to grams, bottle to ounces, dog to pounds, truck to tons. This is harder. They're having to name the object first page, then they're just saying the weight. Then they're alternating, and then they're having to raise their hand and alternate. So then we have distance, inches, feet, yards, and miles. Then we use comparative and superlatives, so like lexical semantic, large, larger, largest, and an antonym. So this is really getting hard too. And I go through this entire program doing usually several examples of each of these, and I'm going over with you these types. But there's tons. I mean, here's what things are made out of. There's verbs. This is just strictly verbs, but they're also very close in semantic boundary. You can look out of binoculars, but you can also watch something out of binoculars. Well, you have TV, you have watch, or you have binoculars, and you have look. So you're having to use extra memory and context to remember those as you're doing this activity. Same with car and roller coaster. You can ride in a car, but you drive a car, and in a roller coaster, you ride a roller coaster. So that's a really good challenge. More verbs, and then we have locations or attributes. This one gets very abstract. It's what weather conditions do, like they're the verbs of a weather condition, very hard. Then simple attributes of animals and things. and then associated, well, no, that's kind of the same thing. Now we have texture and firmness, a gradient of firm or soft. This one's too abstract, I need to remove it. Year to months, month to weeks, weeks to day, or week to days, and days to hours, or day to hours. It's hard. Here we have location or spatial, antonyms, close, far, close, microscope, far, telescope. That gets really tricky. Sight, smells, sensory. Then we've got some abstract comparatives with aging. And this is my favorite, using homonyms and pictures. So hand, palm, tree, palm, weight, and weight. Fun to see. I have a couple of those here. I have match, match, and spring, spring. And then chord and right. This is an interesting one. Kind of the same, like above, just different homonym. Then directionality, but this time you're having to look at the picture and the direction to associate that, which is kind of fun. This is the last one I'd like to discuss, is like collective nouns, like a pride of lions, a flock of birds. And anyways, it goes on forever. It goes on, locations, things like that, ingredients. So I just wanted to share that, and at the very end here, I have just like an appendix that goes over like specifically what these different sets are looking at when you're doing them. So the first one that obviously everyone thinks of is semantic feature analysis is just the feature-based color, shape, size, and then it shows what the cognitive demand is: processing speed, semantic access. Functional, well, the function, use, action. Properties and materials, the texture, material, semantic knowledge, selection, lexical, semantic, synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, inhibitory, control, flexibility, relational, spatial, temporal, and abstract, mixed of abstract sets. So it goes all over the place with, I was trying to just make something that could really get your entire brain to think. And I hope that this was found beneficial, and I really would like to research this and put this somehow out there into the speech and language field for therapy, because I think it's awesome and it would work. I just need people to find an interest in it and discuss it with me, and maybe we could research it. All right, thank you.